Hi everyone, it's Karalyn from the Dawn Patrol, and we are on the podcast Everything Music with Karalyn. And today, our special guest is Matt Hernandez, guitar player in the Dawn Patrol. We're going to see how he started dabbling in the music industry. So how you doing, Matt?
Great.
We just finished the practice, actually. So we're going to see Matt's history in music. So when did you first decide you wanted to play music?
I started when I was in the third grade. Everyone had to pick an instrument, and my instrument was the clarinet.
Ooh.
And I really loved it. I loved everything about it. I loved just everything about music. I loved playing the clarinet in class, and it became, third grade, turned into fourth grade and fifth grade, and joining then in middle school the school band and solo and ensemble competitions, and it became a huge part of my life, and it was something I always wanted to pursue. I wanted to be a musician, and it was tough at the time because your parents were always telling you, hey, can't really
you gotta do school first. Yeah, I know the story.
Yeah. So, around the ninth grade, I got braces, and I was convinced that I could no longer play the clarinet because I had braces, which wasn't entirely true, but I stopped playing clarinet.
I never thought about that. That's really good situation.
Yeah, orthodontic kind of thing. Yeah. So I think my dad thought it was a good idea to get me away from music, to tell the orthodontist, let's say he can't play. So I kind of got out of that. And then the rebellion kind of came in after that, because then I started playing guitar. I had to find something else to do, and I couldn't play clarinet anymore. So then the guitar came.
Yeah, you don't need all that.
And this was in the 80s, in the early 80s. I'm like dating myself now, but during that time, Ozzy Osbourne came out with the Blizzard of Oz. So there was that. Randy Rhoads' influence was huge. And then, of course, Van Halen. I heard Eruption for the first time. To hear that, actually, it sounded like clarinet. So I'm like, what is that?
Wow.
It's amazing. Yeah. So I really got into trying to learn those things. And my dad didn't like the satanic influence of music, so he got rid of a lot of my collection. I wasn't allowed to have those records, so I kind of had to go underground, and I had to then, I was purchasing cassettes,
right?
The studio cassettes, and I would break them open, and I don't know if everyone remembers, the TDK cassette with the screws on it. You could take them apart.
Yeah.
So I'd take apart the cassettes and then put the studio album inside of the cassette, and my engineering career began. So I would have to become have creative ways to kind of kind of get around the rules and regulations, and
so he made you work for it.
Yeah. So I think he kind of knew, he was a police officer, so he was he knew what I was up to, but it just was kind of an undeniable something that I just had to pursue, and I really loved playing. And then after high school, I got into I started pursuing an engineering degree, and I was at University of Florida for a few years doing aerospace engineering. And it just wasn't happening for me, because I started playing in bands, and I started playing in clubs. I was playing at Dubs and doing everything else besides school. And I just wanted to play. So after a couple of years, my grades weren't great, and I had to leave school involuntarily. They told me, hey, you can't, your grades aren't good enough, you gotta find something else to do. So I told my parents, I'm like, I want to do music. So I ended up getting into a classical guitar program at Broward Community College. And I
Oh,
did
wow.
that for a couple of years. And then went on to University of Miami and was in the copyright music industry program. Studied
Oh,
copyright
wow.
and business. And I was also, as a music business major at University of Miami, I had to still be a music major. So I was a classical guitar principal, studied under Juan Mercadal, and I was a piano minor. So it was a very intense program, and I went to school with a couple of one of the guys from Matchbox 20,
Oh, wow.
Brian Yale, was the bass player. We went to school together, and he was in one of the bands that I put together with. I had met the guitar player from Expose, Expose was a dance band at the time.
Yeah.
And the guitar player was Nestor Gomez, and he was a kind of a heavy rock guy, and we were putting together demos and trying to get record deals, but Nestor was a little off, so
Oh.
we couldn't quite put things together
Okay.
with that group, and things with University of Miami. I never finished my degree there either. Hurricane Andrew happened at the time, and everything that whole area was just devastated.
Right.
So I had some opportunities to move out to California, and I got a job working at a recording studio in Hollywood.
Oh,
It was
wow.
Hollywood Landmark, which
Exciting.
was a Landmark building, and it was a historic location, and that's where I started meeting a lot of people in the industry. It was very tough to kind of when I lived in California, I didn't hardly do any playing. It was all just struggling to work and find, a way through the industry. And other opportunities opened up I worked for a second unit production company doing sets and props. And I did that for many years.
Oh,
And
wow.
that kind of got me away from music, and ended up getting into other business ventures and things like that. So I got away from playing for many years. And then my son was born, and then I started getting back into playing because it was always my passion, and I always wanted to, kind of do that.
Right.
So along with my day job, which I'm a signal intelligence engineer, and I'm in telecom, and
So you became an
that kind of
engineer
stuff.
anyway.
I'm still an engineer, whether I like it or not. And but getting involved with your band is it's been probably the most I've been involved in the music industry
Oh, wow.
at any time.
Wow.
Definitely the most taxes I've ever paid. But it's been a tremendous opportunity to be able to play with the band every weekend. I mean, there's always shows, sometimes 2 or 3 shows.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. We have a good time with you. We're glad you're here too.
Thank you.
So thanks for playing with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. So, and his son, Matt Jr., also plays with us sometimes on the saxophone.
Yeah. So
Kind of sounds like he started on the same path when you were.
absolutely,
Yeah.
He started in school band playing clarinet, my old clarinet that I had, which I came from my aunt, and he then wanted to start. He asked for a bass clarinet, which I got for him, and then he wanted a trumpet. He started playing that, and saxophone. He does piano, keyboard. He produces. He's starting to produce music.
Wow.
So he, not even like I've been trying to push him into it. Actually, I've been, kind of like steer him away from it and saying, hey, get a good education, do well in school. But he's really taken to it, and he's doing symphonies and full-on compositions that are things that are way beyond anything I ever have done with music. And with very little training, just the training that they've provided him in school and all on his own. So I'm very proud of him and the things that he's done, and sitting in with the band, playing saxophone. He started out playing bass clarinet, right? A couple of songs, and then he went doing a couple of saxophone songs then with the band, and then doing full sets last New Year's, and now he just sits in and does like a whole show with us.
Yeah, he does.
And it's incredible.
He looks just like him too. It's funny. He's like mini you.
It's my clone.
He's like totally. Oh my God.
We went last week. We went to Full Sail because he's interested in attending, and we went to the behind the scenes tour. Mm-hmm. It's really an incredible school. I wish they had that kind of. I know they were around back when I was going to school, but it's a lot more developed and really a great program. So he's 14 now. He's a freshman, so he's got a few more years. But I think that's what he wants to do. He wants to get into music composition and production, and so I'll support him as much as I can and try to steer him away from the pitfalls. And
You've been through. You the ones you found, So wow, so he's lucky he has you, but he is like your clone. Is he starting to play guitar?
He does. I've been trying to hand him the guitar and over the years as like the first instrument besides the clarinet, and he's gravitated towards every other instrument besides guitar, but now he's finally kind of coming around. He played ukulele for a while, and then now he's starting to play riffs, and I think he learned Zombie. He's like, I want to play Zombie on guitar in the band. I'm like, stick to saxophone for now, and so,
he'd be like, I want to do it all.
Yeah,
I'm going to conquer the world.
My replacement.
Substitute.
Yeah.
Substitute Matt Jr.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cute. He is super cute. He does a really good job too. Everybody enjoys it. They're like, who's the kid in the band? I'm like, it's his son. Can't you tell?
Yeah, he does really well.
Yeah. So, equipment now.
Yeah.
What's your favorite guitar to play?
So I have somewhere between 10 and 12 guitars in various states of playability. And one of the guitars I like playing the most are guitars with Sustainiac pickup, which provides infinite sustain to notes. So like I have this on here. So you can play a note. It'll just keep going, and it'll give harmonics. And,
so that's how you do that.
Yeah, so it's indispensable part of what I do, especially with our band, in that we do a lot of low volume kind of things, and a lot of these harmonics and feedbacks you can't get unless you're playing behind a full stack wall and full volume.
Right.
And this allows more control over the situation. So I've been putting these in on all the guitars, either getting the guitar that already has it or installing it like I did with the Wolfgang, which I just got back from Pepper's Custom.
Just today.
Just today, yeah. So, yeah, the Sustainiac is a good part of
that's pretty cool.
What I need. And then, Floyd Rose, of course, for the tuning stability and the tremolo. And some of my guitars have EMGs, some don't. It depends on how I get them,
Right.
And then, as far as the setup here, I have the Neural DSP Quad Cortex and hooked up to my iPad, which I can change, the songs on my iPad, and it will change all my settings within my pedal board and also my synth pedal.
Right. Yeah. You got a lot of cool stuff here, and he's always fixing up and modifying.
Always.
And making better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Always. Are you actually going to patent that?
I put the patent pending sticker on it, but patents are very expensive these days, and unless you're going to manufacture something, it's really difficult to. So it's about $10,000 to actually get just a patent pending, and unless I go to actually manufacture them, it doesn't make sense to get a patent. I mean, I could still, it's still kind of out there. We'll see what happens.
See what happens. Yeah.
But,
Well, it's a pretty cool setup.
yeah, I've got a couple of things. The case is a patentable idea, and then I have actually this this mount on the back of the iPad is something that so they don't make mounts for iPads this big.
Okay.
So I had to stick a microphone. You can screw it into a mic stand.
Oh,
directly.
yeah. So you made that. Yeah, you
So
modified that to.
This
okay.
collar just fits right into the
Okay.
back of this. So that's how I'm able to mount that on the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So we're looking at that also. The
Patent.
yeah.
Yeah.
The market.
It's definitely, you know, an engineer put this together.
Absolutely.
So you got a little bit of both, the engineer and the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't get away from it. No escape.
Yeah.
I put together, I have one guitar that I built from scratch. Besides the neck, I did the body and the paint and everything else. But, you know, I'm looking to finally one day just actually build an entire guitar from scratch. But it's so easy to get one that's already good to go and inexpensive that,
Right.
you know,
Right. Yes.
it's hard to justify the time and the effort that it
takes to
and the machinery and
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yes. I know what you mean. Well, and you're a busy guy too. You're driving a lot to work and coming here and
live in Orlando, work in Melbourne, and play here in Cocoa Beach
on the weekends. Yeah. It's quite a lot of driving and
absolutely.
And stuff. Yeah.
But it's worth it. You know, I get to. It's like that, the rock star lifestyle that I always wanted, and it's like I have it now because I'm playing all the time. It's like I'm on tour, you know, like where are we playing this weekend? This bar, that bar.
It's kind of funny, like tour bravado, I say.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is, and I've never had anything like this before. I get to still have, you know, the work side and my family, and then still enjoy playing. Because that was kind of a thing with, you know, when you give your life to music, you kind of sacrifice family. That's a big thing. And I did when I moved to California. You know, my family was still here in Florida, and it was tough because I wasn't married, and I didn't have my son at the time, and you're pursuing the dream and going after whatever avenues to go down to make it happen, and it's tough. You sacrifice, you know, having those things, connection with your family, and your brother, your sister, your parents, you know, and so, you know, I think if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have stayed in Florida and maybe tried to just kind of do. But you know, when you're young, you don't think about those things. You think, oh, there's so much opportunity out there, and it's always somewhere else. You know, and you want to go there and chase it.
And you don't know till you try.
That's right. Yeah.
You probably, if you didn't, you would have been like now, like
I totally regret it.
I should have gone and done that.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
Now you did, and you're like, okay, we're good.
I mean, when I moved out to Hollywood, I was meeting. I mean, I met at one party. I met, you know, Mick Jagger and Jack Nicholson, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Bob Dylan at one party. Prince. I'm not going to tell you where it was, but
see, you got there. Yeah, you got. I mean,
and that experience, you know, you're never going to get that anywhere. It was absolutely crazy.
See, yeah, I mean I think that's important. I mean, not you saw what was out there, and you did it essentially, and
yes.
Got a lot of cool stories. And,
there's a lot of stories.
And memories. Yeah, for sure. Now, what is your favorite style of music to play?
So growing up, it was all, you know, hard rock. It was Van Halen and it was Randy Rhoads. Those were the two, you know. And as I got older, you know, like when I started becoming a better player, guys like Steve Vai, you know, they were very intimidating. Actually, Steve Vai almost made me quit. I was like, this guy is just so incredibly good. I mean, what else can you do to the guitar? It was so amazing. It made you take a step back and kind of, you know, reinvent yourself because, you know, you're not going to be the top shredder anymore. And that's kind of like what the 80s was. It was like, be the shred guy, be faster than everyone else. And, you know, But then when Steve Vai came out, it was like, all right, I don't think anyone else is gonna
Mm-hmm.
do any more than that. The guy was just incredible, but he was an incredible musician. On top of that, he was taking like, I think when he auditioned for Frank Zappa, he just showed up with all of the tablature to Frank Zappa's music and said, here's my life's work. And Frank Zappa says, all right, you're in the band. That's how he.
Wow, that's how he auditioned.
Yeah, that's how
Wow.
this is. I didn't even think he was auditioning. He just went to Frank Zappa and said,
Mm-hmm.
I've notated all your music. And he was so blown away that he put him in the band.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
So
an interesting story.
you
Wow.
hear those stories and you're like, that's kind of inspiration. And
Yeah.
so that kind of made me kind of get into more of trying to discover who I was as a musician and a player. So now, when I play in Dawn Patrol, I do more of like, my sound is more kind of produced, like, I'll play a solo maybe, and then when I'm done, bring a delay out and kind of end it and fade it out, and kind of
Mm-hmm.
bring that kind of what people are used to hearing on a record and bring it to a live scenario.
Well, and that's a challenge of doing the covers and trying to replicate them as good as possible on a 4-piece band.
Yeah.
In the places we play, because you got 4 people.
And I try to find things that other guitar players would enjoy. Like, okay, we're playing, a top 40 song or Taylor Swift or something like that. And I might throw in a lick or a riff that's a Randy Rhoads or a Van Halen riff in there that not everyone would even recognize, but there might be that one guy out there that might pick up on it and be like, oh, that's from Diary of a Madman. You just threw that in, So I enjoy doing that. And because if I was someone sitting and watching a band, a top 40 band, I'd be like, all right, yeah, I know all this stuff. I can play this, I can play that. But then you hear something special or something unique or something, obscure. It is kind of a message to that individual,
It's like, I know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Maybe just me and him know what he's doing, but
That's like on Halloween when they did the Van Halen tribute. So on Halloween, I dressed up like Van Halen and had the Van Halen guitar, but I played all of our songs as if Van Halen was playing them, so it was all finger tap type, so it was all completely different.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did totally switch it up.
Yeah.
And you dressed like that too.
It was good. It was fun to do, but it was also like a challenge. Like, all right, how am I going to do this? I did cheat. I used AI to kind of point me in the. I just gave AI a set list. And I'm like, what Van Halen songs would fit? And it gave me all the songs. Yeah, and I'm like, all right, I can do this song.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Made it a little easier.
Oh wow. See, engineering and music.
Engineering.
Engineering and music come together.
That's right.
You're very good at that, for
Thank
sure. So, if there was somebody famous that you haven't met yet from the music industry, who would you like to meet?
Wow, what a question. Someone famous that I haven't met? Let's see. That's a tough question. I don't know. I don't know.
I know. That's
so I took so the guy that I took lessons from, I'll give some props to him. His name is Wesley B. Wright.
Okay.
He was the original guitar player from the Miami Sound Machine.
No way.
He's in South Florida.
Oh wow.
And I met him through a friend of mine. He's like, yeah, Wesley's a great player. And Wesley is like, he understands tonal organization, improv. I think that is actually the concept, is the Lydian chromatic concept of tonal organization for improvisation. Oh, wow. That's kind of like what he preaches. And I took lessons from him only maybe for 8 or 9 months. And he was able to just kind of give me this breakdown of how the guitar is laid out in modes. He was a modal and then hand position. And, metronome and everything else that goes along with good teaching. But he was the one that really kind of gave me that type of thing. I mean, I would love to meet Steve Vai and spend time in his studio and, watching
Of
him
course.
play, or maybe taking like some sort of lesson from him, or Satriani. I mean, the two guys that I would would have liked to meet, Van Halen and Randy Rhoads are no longer with us. So, that would have been something amazing.
Right,
see,
right, for sure.
But yeah, that's pretty much the list. The only one remaining, Steve Vai, probably would be the guy.
Steve Vai.
Yeah.
Well, that's a very good guy to meet. I actually saw Steve Vai like a long time ago in House of Blues in Orlando.
I saw him at the House of Blues in Los Angeles, and we were late to the show. He was with the Les Paul Trio, and we saw like the last 10 minutes of him playing with Les Paul, which was another amazing LA story.
Right.
It was a great show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That must have been awesome.
It was incredible.
Oh, wow.
Totally unexpected.
Oh, you just kind of say, let's go.
Yeah,
let's go see Steve Vai.
We just kind of, LA, when you went out, it was like to go on the strip, and you didn't know what you were going to do. And then we were down there, and the show was going on. And you needed tickets to get in, but we ended up getting in without tickets because it was towards the end of the show, and we ended up watching like the last
that's pretty
5-10
cool.
minutes. Yeah, it was a great show.
Wow, how cool.
Yeah. I've been to a lot of these concerts. I've been to like key concerts that, like, I went to see in, I think it was 89. I saw Stevie Ray Vaughan and Jeff Beck, and it was like 3 shows before he died in the helicopter crash.
Oh, wow.
And at that time, for people that don't know, Stevie Ray Vaughan had a history of drug dependency and rehab, and his albums kind of tanked at one point around the Soul to Soul kind of era.
Okay.
But then he had to come back. He, went through huge rehab, and the comeback tour was the album at Crossfire.
Okay.
Right. I forget the name of that album, but he did the tour with Jeff Beck. It was an absolutely incredible performance. They did a song in the end. They did a Hendrix song in the end, Voodoo Child, in the end, and the both of them playing. It was just an incredible show.
Wow.
And that was something else. And then not too long after that, he died. So,
Yeah, that's crazy.
That was
You're like, I'm so glad I went. Yeah.
And Lollapalooza in '92 with the Chili Peppers.
Oh, wow.
It was in Miami. That was right before Hurricane Andrew. Like, I think just like a week before the storm hit. And that show was an incredible show. I think James Addiction was there too, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So I've been to a
Some
lot
cool
of great
shows.
concerts. Yeah, I've been to Tool. Tool's another band that I really get into. I get into them in periods of time, but then I get away from them.
Right.
You can't keep feeding yourself their music.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is a lot. Yeah. Yeah. Tool. Yeah.
They get you into like a trance.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so that's a lot of like iconic, memorable shows that you've been to. Probably all that helped shaped you into the guitar player you are now.
Absolutely.
What do you think is like in your playing now? What is the biggest challenge you have in playing now?
Always the biggest challenge has always been gravitating between the technical and the creative side. And when I was younger, this was a big problem in that because you get into the creative side and you get lost there, and it's just a different person. You're a different person, and you can be lost there for weeks. And you forget about everything and taking care of yourself or whatever. You just want to write music, play music, and you forget about everything else. So it's that balance and being able to go in between the back and forth. And I think like when I'm playing some songs, I get into that, and sometimes the song ends and I don't want the song to end. Like I can keep kind of playing it for 20 minutes or whatever. And so that's really the challenge. Is when the song is over, coming out of that. or just living your life and gravitating between those two. You know, I have to go to work and be technical now and be a thinker and responsible.
Yeah.
And then, all right, now I want to be creative and think and get into the zone. But then time just, you completely lose all concept of time.
Totally, yeah. Like you're like, and it's and you kind of just experience that like playing on the weekends, and then Monday comes and you're like, I gotta switch my brain now.
Yes.
Like, but a cool thing is that you're good at switching in between and or incorporating both.
Yeah.
Just in how you set up your equipment setup, and how you learn stuff, even how you used AI for those Van Halen Dawn Patrol songs. That you even thought of that. So it's like you're really good at melding the creative with the technical. So
I try to do that.
Yeah. Usually it's like one or the other. Yeah. So it's good you can use both.
Yeah. It was definitely tough when I was younger though.
Yeah, because you get stuck and
you want to be in the creative zone.
Totally.
And forget about no responsibilities.
Yeah, it's like, oh, wait, I still gotta like go to work and pay the bills. It's like, I know I want to do this. Yeah.
I want to go play.
Yeah. Or it's like while you're working, it's like, oh, this would be fun to do. How do you play this? Or, well, I could write a song about this. And then you're like, oh, wait a minute. Work.
Exactly.
Yeah, so yeah, I know how that is for sure. Well, where do you see yourself music-wise, like, in the next, like, 3 years or something? Like, do you keep learning? Because we have you keep learning new songs, but, like, is there anything specific you're, like, working on in the background?
So I have some... So, back in the day, I had... some Joe Satriani style instrumental songs that I created with a sequencer, and I did talk about getting lost in creation. I would at night I would do the recordings when I was living in LA. I would do, and I only had the sequencer and a 2-track cassette recorder. You know, none of the technology that we have today.
Right.
So I would record. In one take, you had to record the whole thing. And then I would listen to it in the car the next day to and from work.
Right.
And then go back and then tweak and change what I didn't like. So, and then if I wanted a double track, I had to play the recording and then track on top of it. So now I found those recordings again. They were gone for a long time. I thought I'd never find them again, and I found them. So I want to do like what we did for... one of your songs, the stem separation, and try to re-engineer it and see if I can.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, that was cool. How he took one of the originals I had and took it from it was on a CD, so he ripped it from the CD.
That old technology.
The old technology.
The old compact
I made
disc
it a long time ago. and separated all the tracks out and took some things out and edited it and remastered it too, which was really cool. And I didn't even know you could do that, but he showed me last Sunday. I was like, that was pretty awesome. So again, mixing the technical with the creative. He's always doing that. And I watch him all the time when he's updating all his equipment and everything. And with that quad cortex,
yes,
you're always like tweaking that, which is cool.
Change that. So I have a patch for every song we do. So there must be about 100 and I don't know how many songs we have, like 115, 120 songs.
And it has its own.
Each song has its own patch. Yeah.
That's impressive. But yeah, like I know you work on it like all the time.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And that's how you can tell he really loves what he does.
Absolutely.
He's always working on it.
If I could do this full time and not have to do my 9 to 5, I would do it in a second.
I feel you.
In a second. I wish all I could do is just play and that's it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Too bad we need to like eat and stuff.
I know. Right.
Well, do you have any advice for some beginner, aspiring guitar players or musicians in general?
Follow your dreams. Following my dreams. The dream was, play for a band that is touring the world and platinum albums and all that stuff. But following those dreams brought me to the career path that I'm on. It brought me to seeing other things that I didn't know existed in the world. So that, a lot of people are always saying, "Oh, follow your dreams and they'll come true." They don't always come true the way you expect
imagined
them.
it. Yeah.
But
yeah.
They do help you solidify how your life is going to be and think what things come your way. So when I was a little kid, I mean, cell towers and cell phones didn't exist. So how can I say, "Oh, I'm going to be a cell tower technician. I'm going to be an engineer in signal intelligence"? Right? That didn't exist.
Yeah.
So by following my dreams, it allowed me to kind of open up and into those areas.
Right. You took you on paths you couldn't have even imagined at the time.
That's right.
Yeah. But you kept you knew your dream. You went and tracked it down and chased it, and I mean, you are playing all the time.
And I'm playing all the time
you
now.
are.
Which is it's amazing because it was totally unexpected. I thought my days of playing were like over, and when when my son was born, I kind of even my focus to be responsible and career paths and things definitely was in the forefront, and playing it wasn't until he was, I think, maybe about 5 or 6, I started playing again. And it just, I never expected things to kind of pick up the way they did. And I got, so I started playing, and then I got an opportunity to perform in Rock of Ages. Rock of Ages, it's like a stage play.
Oh, cool.
So it was, they were desperate. They had to be desperate. I mean, they got me. they were desperate for a player because I think the one that they had couldn't perform, and it was around the time one of the hurricanes was happening around that time, and it was a 2-week show, and I had to learn. It was like a 30-page score, and it was all the songs from the 80s, but kind of put in context of this play.
Wow.
And so I watched some YouTube videos of other units playing the Rock of Ages, and I was able to kind of figure out, and I know how to read sheet music, so I made my notes and figured things out, and I only had 2 weeks to learn it, and I learned it, and then did the show. And it was a great opportunity, and not everyone in my family got to see it. My dad had already passed away, but my mom was down south. She couldn't come up. My brother saw the show. My sister didn't get to see it. My son got to see the show, but he was very young. He was only 5 or 6. But it kind of got me back into the zone.
Right.
And I started looking for other opportunities, and I started playing with Unvanquished with Paul, and you've met, and did that for a few years, and we kind of stuck in the garage for a little bit and started playing out. And then, of course, I responded to your ad.
Yeah, my Facebook ad.
And
I need a guitar player.
I never thought, I would be not only playing in a band again, but playing in a band all the way out here.
Yeah.
Orlando.
I was like, oh wow, cool. He's just from Orlando. Yeah,
At the time, I was driving cell towers, so I was doing cell tower testing all over Central Florida. So I was driving to Tampa, driving to Daytona, and putting on thousands of miles on my car anyway. So when I saw the opportunity, I'm like, I drive out there anyway, so let me try it out and see how it goes. And then getting in the Dawn Patrol helped open up my mind to getting the job in Melbourne, because I never thought I would commute that far for a job. And I ended up with this, dream job at the company that I have now, which is Cognite. And I love what I do down there, but I never would have considered driving that far if I wasn't already coming out here to play. So
there you go again.
Follow your
Music
dreams.
opened
That's right.
other opportunities.
Absolutely.
So that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
funny. My mom always says, and my parents always say, and I've heard other people say, is where you are is where you're meant to be at the moment. You are supposed to be doing what you're supposed to be doing, and then you don't know what that leads to too. So that's a
so
great
true.
example.
And it's even more true when you try to do something that you're not supposed to do, and it just doesn't.
It doesn't
work.
go
Like,
that way.
Everything gets in your way. It's like, all right, I guess this isn't
I guess
supposed
this is not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
The universe is telling me. So that's really cool. It's fun how life can direct you.
It's like when you're late to work and this gets in your way from leaving on time, and something else stops you, and something else, and you're like, and you finally get out the door, and then as you're driving in, there's a car accident, and you're like, if I had left on time, I probably would have been part of that car accident.
Yeah, you don't know how things work out.
Yeah.
And that's why I like to believe that that's true. You are where you're meant to be right now.
Absolutely.
And we just had practice, so.
Yeah. So here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Yeah. So, but yeah, we have a great time with you. So, we're glad you joined us. So.
Thank you, and I really love the opportunity, and you are the hardest working musician I've ever met.
Really?
Hardest working woman in show business. I mean, you have your job, you're 9 to 5, and then you're in the band, and then you do your acoustic shows, and you do your podcast, right? And the city council. I mean, you do so much, and it's very inspiring. So it's like, wow, she can do all that. What's my excuse? Why am I not? So it's very inspiring.
Well, thank you. And I love everything I do too. So, like you.
And also too, working with musicians isn't always what it's cracked up to be. A lot of times you work with musicians that are not dependable. They don't show up. The gigs aren't there. The money's gone, or you don't. And I've never ever had to worry about that. Not for a second here with you, Ricky, Mike, any of the guys that we worked with. Everybody's dependable and responsible. They know their parts. It makes for an enjoyable. I mean, I just get to show up, plug in, play, and go home. I don't have to worry about anything else. Like back in the old days, we had to chase people down to get, chase down managers to get paid or not get paid or whatever,
Yeah, I've experienced that.
I think everyone has.
I've experienced that. Yeah, I've experienced independent band members too, and we try to make it here as nice an experience, because we all want to have fun, because pretty much all of us work the whole week. Yeah. So when you go play music on the weekends, you want it to be fun. You don't want it to be like stressful and then become like a job, and it's like, so I like to keep it fun. So I try to create that, which seems like we've got the machine going and stuff. We got a lot of good people that we're working with. So,
and there's always shows to play.
I really try to.
Is incredible.
I try to keep that up.
Anything like it. In other bands, it's like if you play once a month, it's a lot. And with you, it's like I'm one of 3, sometimes 4 guitar players, and I'm still playing every weekend.
Yeah.
Sometimes twice, 3 times a weekend. There's enough that you're keeping busy. You're keeping, 3 other guys working too, and a couple of drummers. All right, Mike. Sometimes there's a couple of 2 or 3 bass players, but it's only you. So, I've seen you sing when you're sick, and like when you're kind of not into it, and you still get out there and you give your all, and put on a great show, and
I think once I get going, if I'm not feeling it, it's like the adrenaline, right?
Absolutely,
Just like
the
starts,
adrenaline.
So yeah, but I love it that much. So like so.
It's incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
You got an incredible work ethic, and I really appreciate being a part of something that makes it effortless for me to enjoy what I do and perform for people. And
well, I'm glad it's effortless for you. I mean, you put a lot of effort into it.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
But I don't have to.
You don't have to.
All the other things, I don't have to book gigs. That's pretty hard. Just getting shows.
Yeah.
And then everything that goes along with that.
All the other stuff.
Managing, breaking down. I mean, I'll help Ricky carry drums and stuff, but I'm not. You guys don't expect me to do that either.
Yeah. But I mean, you go beyond what you have to do too. So we all appreciate you. So you do a great job, and the band is just like, I want everybody to have fun. So I mean, there's work involved, but I want it to be fun because the rest of the week is work, grind. So try to have fun with this.
Absolutely.
So yeah, is there anything else you would like to share with us?
I think that's it.
You did tell us a lot.
I'm gonna rattle off too much. Talk about all kinds of things, but
yeah. Well, thank you so much, Matt, for doing this.
Thank you, Karalyn.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
great. Yeah, I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we are gonna play in a few days. So, like 2 days or 1 day almost. And anyways, thank you for joining myself, Karalyn, and Matt Hernandez, the guitar player, Dawn Patrol. And thanks for watching my new podcast, Everything Music with Karalyn. And we will see you next time. All right. Well, you guys have a great week.
Bye. You want to superimpose the audio anyway, right? So it doesn't matter what we say.